Hey
Hey
Nikhil, nice
Samson,
to
how is
meet
it
you.
going?
Good, good.
So thank you so much
Okay.
for joining us from Australia. Uh,
Yep.
like the very first question, I had no idea actually uh, that we actually had Indian players going abroad. So Gopal was the first one who actually introduced to me that, dude, we have
hmm
Indian players playing in different leagues, man. What are you doing? So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Samson, can you please tell me how you got into basketball and how did it even start?
Yeah. I think for every Indian, I would say like for me, my first love was cricket. So up until I was in fifth grade, I played cricket all time, like on the street, anywhere I could think of. And then I was living near a YMCA, and I lived on the same street as the ground. So there was a coach that used to see us just playing cricket, and he just introduced us, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you just come and try and play with us?" So I think that's when it started. It used to be just once a week. I still remember just like Mondays from 4 to 5 an hour, and like yeah, it was interesting because I didn't know the game as much, but I was still excited. I was like, when is Monday gonna come back again? Because we would only get once a week. And then as time went by, it was twice a week, and it was twice a week for a very long time. But I think yeah, grade 6 is when I really started picking up basketball.
So there are a couple of questions here. One is, did you have to battle stereotypes? Like, did you have to convince people, hey, I'm an Indian guy, I'm a guard, but I can play the guard position and I can hang with the best? That's the first question. The
hmm
second one, of course, just the mindset, right? Like,
hmm
you're going somewhere where no other Indian in your position on the court has gone before. So did you have to battle both these two things with your own internal restrictions you'll place and also external sort of you know uh, criticism or skepticism over the game?
But yeah, I think stereotypes definitely. When I first, I think you probably have seen me, Gopal, but when I was like finishing under 18s, I was really skinny, and then I went to Kochi and trained with Elevate X, and like I think that Jonathan pretty much introduced me to them. He was begging them for me to train with them for like a couple years, and then I actually went there, stayed there for like 2.5 years, 3 years, trained on my body, and I got a little bigger, and then that's when the opportunity came to go to the Ohio. So I was really skinny before, but then like I think I put on a little bit of muscle mass and got a little bigger. But then when I landed in the US, everyone, there's like white guys, there's black African Americans, and like when I first walked in for our first team practice, like everyone just looked at me. I was like, okay, like this guy is not, like he's just like a brown Indian dude, like who doesn't really know much. Oh no, but it was good. Like they were really surprised, and everyone was just like looking at me. I was like, who is this guy? And I think from that point on, I knew like I think I just need to keep pushing myself because I think from that point on, like I was always seen to be like, okay, he's just like 5'8", probably 5'9" with shoes, but like I was always been small, the smallest guy on the team. But like for me, like I think that fuels me, and that just like drove me even more to even just keep training. And then the next thing I know is I'm the captain of the team, and like I'm starting point guard for college, and that was like the biggest moment for me. So even now, stereotypes are still there on the team. I'm still the smallest guy. What was your second question, Gopal? Was it relating
Yeah, so
to?
about the adjustment, like playing in the US, playing in India, and playing in
hmm
Australia, what are the similarities, differences? How do you adjust your game and also culturally, like in terms of living, right? Like you're
Yes.
leaving your home, you're leaving everyone behind, constantly moving from one continent to the next, right? So on court, off court, the
Mm.
adjustments.
Yes. On court, I think I was kind of good because I watched a lot of YouTube. Derrick Rose is probably like my favorite player right now, and I still watch his stuff. But like, I think YouTube did definitely teach me a lot in that 3 years while I was in Kochi, because I think the terminologies we use, like like flare screens and all of that stuff, like there's those little things that we don't get in India. Like no one teaches you like positions, because you always know as like a zero or like 45 or like center, but it's like actually wing. You have corners, short corners. You have the nail, and like all these terminologies were something I had to get, because they like when you get to college, you're not gonna, their coaches aren't gonna teach you that. So plays are designed using those words. So I think those plays, like I think our coach, I was lucky enough to have him, and he did a really good job, like of teaching everything. And we spent hours, like 2 practices a day for 5 days a week, and it was really good. So I think I did a pretty good job of adapting. So I think that's number one for me. I was just like adapting anything the coaches were throwing at us. It was really good. Off court, uh, growing up in Mumbai, you never see snow. But like I went to Ohio, and it was the coldest. Like it was minus 45 degrees Celsius at one point. It
Oh
was.
yeah.
We still had to go to class. If you miss class, you're running for practices. So you had to be in class on time and make sure you go. So like, yeah, my first winter in Ohio was crazy. It was really cold. I started cooking myself because like I saved a lot of money there as well, because like you have to pay food and accommodation, because my scholarship wasn't full scholarship, it was partial. So I had to like get scholarships beyond like my athletic ability. So but yeah, um but yeah, everything else was pretty good.